There is a specific loneliness that arrives for men, and almost no one warns you about it. It does not come when you are young. It comes quietly, somewhere in the middle of your life. The friends drift, the calls stop, and one day you realize no one actually checks on you. Not because you failed, because no one ever teaches a man how to keep his people. The Stoics understood this 2,000 years ago, and they had an answer. By the end of this video, you will never fear an empty room again. There are 7 truths that turn a lonely man into a self-sufficient one. The 6th one is the hardest to accept, and the one that finally sets you free. But first, you have to understand why the loneliness is not what you think it is. Here is the truth no one says to a grown man. Your loneliness is not proof that something is wrong with you. It is the natural result of a life that quietly stopped making room for connection. Every year you chose work over the friend, the screen over the call, the comfort over the effort. None of it felt like a decision. That is exactly why it worked. And the ache you feel now is not weakness. It is your nature telling you the truth. Seneca said that no man can live a happy life if he thinks only of himself. But the answer was never to become desperate for company. It was to become a man who is whole alone and therefore worth being around. The first truth. Learn the difference between solitude and loneliness. Loneliness is the pain of feeling you have no one. Solitude is the peace of being fine on your own. Same empty room, 2 completely different men standing in it. The lonely man fills the silence with noise because the silence frightens him. The self-sufficient man sits in the silence because he is good company to himself. The Stoics trained for solitude on purpose so that being alone was never a punishment. You cannot build real connection from a place of need. Need repels. Master solitude first, and everything else you build on top of it will be stronger. The second truth. The people did not leave. You both stopped tending the fire. Friendship in a man's life dies quietly, from neglect, not betrayal. No one has a fight. Everyone just gets busy, and busy becomes years. And a grown man is ashamed to reach back out, so the silence hardens into distance. But that shame is a lie. The other man is usually sitting in the exact same silence. The Stoics treated friendship as a thing you cultivate, not a thing you are given, so you send the message. You make the call. You be the one who reaches first. It is not weakness to reach out. It is the only thing that ever rebuilds a bridge. The third truth. You do not need a crowd. You need a few real ones. A man surrounded by 50 acquaintances can be the loneliest man in the room. Connection is not measured in numbers. It is measured in depth. One friend who knows the real you is worth 100 who only know the version you perform. So stop trying to be liked by everyone and start being known by a few. The Stoics kept a small circle of people whose character they trusted and let the rest go. Pour your effort into the few who would show up if it all fell apart. Depth with a few beats, noise with a crowd, every single time. The fourth truth. Stop searching for connection and start becoming worth connecting to. Lonely men often go hunting for friends. It rarely works because it comes from lack. The stronger path is quieter. Become a man with a life worth being part of. Build the discipline, the calm, the interests, the character that draw good people naturally. Men are not drawn to need. They are drawn to a man who is going somewhere. The Stoic worked on himself first and let the right company find him along the way. You do not attract connection by chasing it. You attract it by becoming it. Fix the man, and the loneliness starts solving itself from the inside out. If this is landing, let me say one thing directly. If you are done pretending the empty room does not get to you, subscribe. It costs you nothing, and it is how this reaches the men who need it. Then come back, because the next truth is the one that finally frees you. Now here is the truth almost no man wants to hear. The fifth truth. No person is ever coming to complete you. You have been waiting, quietly, for the friend or the woman who fills the hole. And every relationship built on that hope has buckled under the weight of it. Because no human being can be the source of a peace you refuse to build yourself. The Stoics were clear. The good life is built from within, or it is not built at all. When you stop needing others to fix the emptiness, two things happen. The emptiness shrinks, and for the first time you can love people instead of using them. A man who needs no one is finally free to truly want someone. The sixth truth. Some seasons of a man's life are meant to be walked alone. Not every empty stretch is a problem to fix. Some are a forge you were placed in. The most important growth in a man's life almost always happens in solitude. The Stoics did not fear being alone. They knew a man meets himself in the quiet. So when the room is empty, do not panic and fill it with the wrong people. Use the season. Build, think, train, become. The right people meet a finished man. An empty room is not a verdict on your worth. It is space to build a self worth having. Sit in it without fear, and it stops being a prison and becomes a workshop. The seventh truth. Belonging is not found. It is built slowly, on purpose. No one stumbles into deep friendship as an adult. It is constructed, one deliberate act at a time. The recurring call, the shown-up moment, the remembered detail, the door kept open. These are not grand gestures. They are small, repeated, unglamorous choices. The Stoic understood that a good life, like a good friendship, is a daily practice. So you stop waiting to feel connected, and you start doing the small things that create it. Loneliness ends the way it began, one quiet choice at a time, only now in the other direction. Build it deliberately, and one day you look up and the room is full of the right people. Here is what nobody tells you about a man who never faces his loneliness. He does not stay still. He hardens and calls it independence. He convinces himself he needs no one, right up until the day he desperately does. Every year he avoids the ache, the harder it becomes to ever reach for anyone again. A connected life is not something you are handed. It is something a man builds on purpose, in the quiet. So remember the seven. Solitude over loneliness. Reach first. Depth over crowd. Become worth knowing. Stop waiting to be completed. Use the empty seasons. And build belonging one choice at a time. Do that, and the empty room stops being a sentence and becomes a starting point. You will be whole alone, and that is exactly what makes you worth being around. If this gave you even one moment of peace with the quiet, subscribing is how you say, make more. I make these for the man who is tired of pretending the loneliness is not there. Master being alone, and you will never again be at the mercy of an empty room. I will see you in the next one.